It may be impossible to travel back in time, but today on At Your Leisure, we're getting as close as humanly possible. I'm Chad Booth. Join Ria and me as we set out on a transcontinental journey that will lead us to some surprising discoveries for you and your family.
Then come with me, Stephen Human, as I show how you can find world-class adventure right on your doorstep. You just need to know the right spots to explore.
Last but not least, Milia Stringham highlights how you can comment on Bears Ears and Grand Staircase. But you better get on it right now.
All aboard!
A 150 years ago, two trains ended up nose to nose after racing each other all the way across the country. And with their cattle guards just feet apart, they drove the golden spike that connected a web of steel from one shore to the other.
And we are walking on that grade right now.
The very grade that connected the country from east to west 150 years ago. And you get to share that history with us. Now, this is not a history lesson, this is hands-on. Grade all the way back out to Kelton.
Well, we went on, I think, a wonderful tour where we got a chance to see the Transcontinental Railroad in Utah as it would be in 1860s.
Well, this changed the world. This was the equivalent of the moonshot at this time. I mean, prior to this time, if you wanted to travel from New York to San Francisco or wherever the case may be, it was very arduous. You'd either have to go to Panama and cross the Isthmus, you'd have to go around the Cape.
It is absolutely amazing to think that men with shovels moved that much earth, and you're driving in many of the places along the original rail bed of the Transcontinental Railroad. You could take a mountain bike, you could take, we went in automobiles today, but four-wheelers, virtually anything that you can, take out along that road.
You know, they're going to see a lot of marshland, they're going to see the Great Salt Lake, they're going to see views unencumbered by anything other than just the natural landscape. That what they'll see is that grade built by all these people by hand, completing the railroad. They'll see trellises, they'll see cuts, which were made largely by hand, and all that is still out there. We have 1 year before 2019, which is the 150th anniversary of the Transcontinental Railroad. Everything came together in Utah. Two wonderful efforts, one from the west, one from the east, taking a number of years, and it all culminated in Promontory Summit, May 10th, 1869.
You want to be in Promontory Summit on Friday, May 10th, 2019, because this is going to be probably one of the coolest events that's ever happened in the history of the state of Utah.
We hope that many people will come. We're hoping that many people will come over the summer and see the Promontory Summit, and so that's what it's all about.
Hopefully this will inspire people to think big and to basically try to figure out what the next horizon is, what the next moonshot is, what the next completion of a railroad is. I don't know what that is, but it's going to be fun to see.
Wow, there was like so much history out here, and we're with all the right people to tell us about it.
And you were afraid you were going to be bored today.
Well, I wasn't afraid. I just when you're coming out here, there's nothing out here. But there is.
To me, there's just wide open space. I love this.
Oh, it's fabulous.
I'm a desert rat,
Oh, you are.
Anyway, we'll be taking a much closer look at this. I think you're going to find some really interesting stuff just down the railroad grade a little bit from here. But right now, it's time for us to go to our travel adventure. It's Foot Power Day today. Here's Steve Human.
Hey guys, Steve Human here. With At Your Leisure, man, I've been able to go almost everywhere you can imagine and explore in every other way you can possibly imagine. One of the favorite things for me personally is just to hit a trail right outside my house and go and hike up in the hills. And luckily, here on the Wasatch Front of Utah, we're able to do that, and it's just incredibly easy. So I want to take you on the trail today, give you a little glimpse of some of the areas you can go to with your family and enjoy. I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Matt Van Horn, who's explored all of these trails and seen some amazing things. So why don't we hit the trail together? Salt Lake City is known for a lot of things: belief, beauty, and now more than ever, recreation. Few places offer an urban environment so close to a wild one that you can go from one to the other a dozen times without having to stop for gas.
Yeah, that is literally how it is. Within 10 minutes, you can be on a trailhead and you can be up in the wilderness. It's awesome. It is one of the things that those who use the trails here love about the Salt Lake area.
And Matt Van Horn would know. As a hiker and ultra marathon runner, Matt has had a chance to explore deeper into these areas than most, discovering surprising pieces of history and an appreciation for the sheer quantity and quality of the trails.
The Salt Lake Valley and the Wasatch are just simply, they're just beautiful. You have the 3 canyons. The trails here are spectacular, and then off trail you can go higher up into the ridges. It's got everything. It's a very small area geographically, and I still can't understand why this area isn't more well known to the national scene for trail runners and hikers, but it's starting to get more well known. Right here, the Mount Olympus trailhead. This is the most popular trailhead in the valley, one of them, but it's very busy. And it's right on Wasatch Boulevard. And then the other ones are just a short drive up the canyons. So there's very good trail access here.
Another popular route is the Bonneville Shoreline Trail, which stretches the entire length of the valley along the shores of the prehistoric lake it's named after. Plans are currently in place to stretch the trail all the way from the Idaho border to Nephi, Utah, 280 miles. But for now, Shoreline links to other trails like Rocky Mouth and Bell Canyon, taking your family to hidden waterfalls, overlooks, and a world on the cusp of spring. Just right now, none of the trees are in bloom yet. It's still a little bit early for that. So it's not green like it will be in a month, but it's still beautiful, and you can still look up at the mountains and see the sun kissing that snow up there, and to just be able to see the wind dancing on the water, and that's all you hear. It's a really cool experience, and it's almost, to me, it's just pure exploration. And I've gone on hikes with particularly my oldest son, Max, and we've gone and just, you know, kind of looked off in the distance and just picked a spot and said, hey, let's go and see if we can get up there. Let's go and see if we can discover stuff. And I've gone on hikes with my older brother, Tim. You know, we've gone to Goblin Valley and we've done a little Wild Horse Canyon and explored that way. It's just it's a unique way to just get to know your family, people that you think you know really well. You know, you find out that you sometimes don't know them as well as you think, and you learn so much about them in those moments. Stuff you thought you knew and you didn't really know. It's a fun way to get in touch with yourself and others, I think.
It's something that I seek out often, and I believe it, you know, it improves me as a person.
Rocky Mouth and Bell Canyon, less than a mile from each other on Wasatch Boulevard and Draper, are both great family hikes that your kids will love. And if you're hiking with children, remember a few tips. Bring plenty of water and snacks because they're going to want to eat like every 10 seconds. And don't be regimented in where you go or how long it takes. Allow them to explore at their own pace and you'll have a much better experience.
They start exploring and investigating and inspecting things, throwing rocks into the lake. And for a little bit, they forget about their urban life. And those are memories that we will all have.
Maps for all of the Salt Lake trails can be found easily at utah.com. There's no reason to stay inside when adventure is so close and so easy to access.
Get the right kind of shoes, get the right kind of clothing, and just go. People should go hiking because it's there for them and they will feel better.
You know, it doesn't matter if you're on a 4x4, an ATV, or just your own 2 feet. You're going to find what you need when you step outside. For At Your Leisure, I'm Stephen Heumann.
Introducing the entirely new 2018 Goldwing and Goldwing Tour, completely redesigned from the road up. There's a whole new frame, a brand spanking new 24-valve Unicam Flat 6, electronically controlled suspension preload, and an entirely new front suspension. Both come with a 6-speed manual transmission or, and this is a first, a 7-speed automatic dual clutch transmission. But enough talk, because the bottom line is, if you don't ride one, you'll never understand what it's about.
I'm about ready to enter a time machine. Now, it's not an episode of Doctor Who, it's an episode of Doctor Where. In 7 hours, I will be in summer, and you could too if you had an RV or a travel trailer from Ray Citte RV on Riverdale Road. As a matter of fact, if you go in there right now or go to raycitte.com, you can enter to win this vacation I'm taking to Pirates Cove in Needles, California. Ray Citte RV, Utah's low price leader since 1946.
Welcome back to At Your Leisure. I'm Corinne Smart, and we are here at Little Sahara today, and I'm with Rich and Paul Weller, and they're here to show me a new machine. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Good to see you.
It's nice seeing you.
Good to see you.
So tell me about this machine. What do we have here?
What we have here is the new Can-Am Maverick X3-XRC. RC stands for a rock crawler, but we also dubbed it real cool.
So what do I need to know about this machine?
Well, let me start with the tires.
So from my understanding, I know that you guys did a little bit more custom work on this. What have you guys added to this machine?
This particular machine has a street legal on it currently right now. We also in the back right here, this is an S&B filter system. That's a particle filter. Also up here on the gauges, there's a temp gauge to tell us how hot that belt's getting, especially out here in the sand. That's where it's really going to be in its element. Inside, down on the floorboard, there's also a compressor so we can let out the air in the tires. Flatten them down a little bit, air them up a little bit.
And also GPS.
Nice.
So that's just a few of the things.
Okay, so I love the look of this machine. My personal preference, if you're gonna get a sports vehicle, make sure that it's a fun color. Okay, from what I can tell so far, these seats are really comfortable. They hold your body really well. So especially if you're gonna be going on rocks or on sand dunes, you're gonna be jostling around a lot, and I don't wanna have to worry about staying into my seat, you know? So say you are riding on the rocks and you wanna change to the dunes, all you have to do is click these buttons and change the settings, and you can ride on any terrain. What I love most about it is the power start. Let's do this. Trim down, baby. I really want one. I'm surprised my husband and I don't have a toy like this. My donut skills! Woo! There's a lot of visibility so that I'm not worried if I'm going to hit anyone because I can see so much around me right now. Oh my gosh! That was so much fun! If you guys want to see this machine, go visit Welleth Recreation in Kansas, Utah. Well, that's it. More At Your Leisure in just a minute. Woo!
There's a little place on a Utah map where I was raised, where my heart's at, where the sagebrush grows wild and high, and the stars come out at night. Oh, there ain't nothing like being raised in the basin with a Ute reservation, skiing starvation, that Duchesne County life.
introduces the newest ways to explore the water. Load up all your gear, catch some rays, grab a bite to eat, crank up some tunes, and tons more.
Every day we just go, baby, don't go. Every day we just go.
Sea-Doo, escape the everyday.
Jump! That wasn't very far.
Not at all. Welcome back to At Your Leisure, everybody. We're out here on the Transcontinental Railroad tour, and we are just loving it. This is so very cool.
Oh, look, we got fans back there. All right.
Hey, peace out.
So we are stopped right here. This is a very interesting and different trellis. Actually, it is now a box culvert. In the 20s and 30s, they built some of these culverts in here to make them a little stronger. And this one is a stone culvert. It's made out of really big rocks.
It's original too.
Yep.
Well, there's so much more to see. Let's hit the road.
You're seeing very much what it would have been like in the 1860s. It's largely what the Chinese and the Mormon contractors and the Irish supervisors would have experienced here in 1860.
Well, look closely and you can see the rather large railroad spike that wants to come out. And we're going past all the remnants of these different towns that used to be out here. And they used to have them every 10 miles, which just surprises me. It boggles my mind how much it took to make a steam locomotive run. It's nothing like the Hollywood movies, you know?
No.
So we have a limited number of images of historic Terrace, even though it was a sizable town. But this is probably one of the more compelling images because you can see the mountain in the background and the mountain in the background of this historic photo of downtown Terrace. This hotel, you can see it right at your feet. That's water pipe and sewer pipe.
Wow.
It's hard to figure out how a building fell apart all the way over there and all the way over there.
So, excuse me, I'm sorry, what is that? A headlight? What is that? That's their headlight, right?
Yep.
At first I thought it was like a clock.
Coal-fired.
And so I'm going to walk you into Chinatown and show you material culture, the Chinese experience, so you can understand.
Fine china. Look at that. So we're going to leave it here for somebody else to discover, but there's stuff that's got printing on it, like Chinese dragons and stuff all over here in white china. So you can tell we are in Chinatown. Pretty cool, huh?
This is a really neat, this is just really cool, I think. Something that you bring your family out to look at. I mean, this is Utah history, and it's like, it's world history. Chad, check out all this brick.
Yeah. Why aren't you singing your brick house song again?
We're a brick house. Yeah. So where is it? Where did this come from, really quickly?
This actually is part of the office and the shop.
Oh, that's right.
This is not Utah brick. They imported it.
Yep.
So
came from California.
California brick.
Yep.
Yep. And that's why it's so airy.
Yeah.
We're out here with the people from the State Office of History and the BLM taking this tour today, and you know, not far from here, a stone's throw is another issue on public lands. That's our trailhead today. And you know, the time to make the biggest impact on planning for the future on how we recreate on public land is in the scoping period. And the time is running out on a big one. You need to find out what you can do in the next week.
That's right. And this story is brought to you by Rocky Mountain ATV MC.
In 1996, the over 1.8 million acre Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument was created. Bears Ears National Monument came about in 2016 at over 1.3 million acres. At the end of last year, however, it was announced that both monuments would be substantially downsized, potentially opening areas to other uses, including recreation. Soon after that announcement, the Bureau of Land Management entered its scoping period to determine how best to use these newly unlocked regions before creating official preferred land access plans.
Scoping is part of the National Environmental Policy Act process, and we have scoping at the beginning of that process. It's an opportunity for the public to provide input to the agencies. The agencies use that information in developing alternatives and then in developing the environmental impact analysis.
The scoping period is the best time for the public to make comments on how we think the land should be used. Once the scoping process ends, the BLM will create their alternative management plans, and at that point, the majority of the decisions will have already been made. So what types of comments is the BLM looking for? And how can you make sure your opinion has the impact that it should?
Comments are most effective when they're solution-oriented, when they're clear, and when they're concise. The NEPA process is not a voting process, and so comments that merely express support or opposition for a project don't necessarily help the agency. What we would encourage people to do is provide information on specific issues or concerns that they have, as well as alternatives that they would like to see considered within the environmental analysis.
So, for example, if a trail you enjoy leads to an overlook in a specific area and you would like it to remain open, you would want to give clear directions, describe the value of retaining motorized access, and how that access would improve public enjoyment of the land. Conversely, if you think an area should be closed to motorized recreation for environmental protection, you must give legitimate evidence of damage. It isn't enough to make personal claims or merely speculate. Now, you may ask yourself if these comments actually do any good one way or the other. The answer?
Yes, the comments do affect the agency's decision-making process, and they do affect the development of these land use plans. Agencies actually have a legal responsibility to involve communities early in the NEPA process and to review those comments and to take into consideration citizens' comments and concerns.
And your time to make comments is just about up. You only have a few days left to have an impact on either the Grand Staircase or Bears Ears.
For the National Monument planning processes, scoping was initiated on January 16th, and the scoping period closes for the Bears Ears National Monument Management Plan on April 11th. It closes for the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument Plan and for the lands that are now excluded from the monument on April 13th.
So now is the time to comment on these plans, and you can do so through email, directly at the BLM website, or even a standard postal service letter. After the 11th and the 13th, the agency will move on to the next phase of planning, and it will be too late to make individual contributions. If these areas are important to you and your family, commenting now is the best way to ensure you still have access to them once the dust settles on the new plans.
Citizen involvement is the most important part of the NEPA process. If you go to the BLM's website, www.blm.gov/Utah, there is a direct link to the planning pages for these projects and an explanation as to how you can make comments. Please submit comments because it helps us as an agency develop plans and make sound management decisions for public lands.
And you can be part of those decisions if you act fast enough. From the trailhead, I'm Milia Stringham.
Meet the new leader in off-road utility, the completely reinvented Ranger XP1000. It's got the most power, the largest towing capacity, the highest ground clearance, and the best comfort and storage. Introducing the all-new Polaris Ranger XP1000, the hardest working, smoothest riding Ranger ever built.
I'm about ready to enter a time machine. Now, it's not an episode of Doctor Who, it's an episode of Doctor Where. In 7 hours, I will be in summer, and you could too if you had an RV or a travel trailer from Ray Citte RV on Riverdale Road. As a matter of fact, if you go in there right now or go to raycitte.com, you can enter to win this vacation I'm taking to Pirates Cove in Needles, California. Ray Citte RV, Utah's low price leader since 1946.
Fortress Clothing is the answer to people who have to spend time outdoors. We're science-based. We actually retain body heat, but our product is hydrophobic, so it allows moisture to evacuate. It works, and for all of our AYL viewers, AYL 20% off anything we offer. We claim what everybody else claims, but we actually deliver.
Chad, look at this cute little trestle.
Yeah, don't fall in the cracks.
Oh, that's all right. It's only like 6 feet down. It's not gonna. This ain't gonna
6
kill you.
feet? Are you kidding me?
Oh, look, Ria. Oh, look.
I know. This is so fun.
Yeah.
Really. There's just something to do out here in the middle of nowhere.
This timber's still pretty heavy. I mean, look at the size of this stuff.
Yeah. So the train actually came over this.
It sure did.
Yeah. So cool.
Several tons of it all at once. Just think, it's a big steel thing lined with bricks.
Different than a pirate ship.
That's true.
That's
Although this does look like pirate wood.
All right, let's talk about Pirates Cove.
Yeah, you got 1 week left to enter, which would be a really good thing to do because that is a fun place to go. And we might even see you there because...
Are you serious? Are we going to go?
Oh, for sure. Why not?
I love that place. This place is so much fun.
Yeah.
Make sure you enter on Facebook or you can go to Ray Citte RV,
yeah,
their website.
RayCitte.com. That's right. You can sign up there. Either place will get you into the contest. And speaking of contests, we have a weekly sticker winner. And Steve has it right in his pocket.
Thanks, guys. Steve Human here. I'm with Dave Stebbin.
Hey.
How you doing? We're driving down I-80, and we just came upon an AYL sticker right there. Check it out. X286AZ. X286AZ. It's got his AYL sticker right there. And for the rest of you, you can get your AYL stickers at Stebbins, right?
Come to Stebbins, stick them on everything. You never know when you might get your picture taken.
There you go. Back to you guys.
Congratulations! Call us at 801-947-8888 and get that Camp Chef stove.
Yep, don't grab it while it's hot though. Wait, let's go.
Right. Okay, let's take a look at next week's show.
Next week on At Your Leisure, Reese Stein is netting some fish for a good cause, finding out how bigger and better populations might be angling your way. Then we'll preview the newest ATV Jamboree coming up next month and why you should try exploring a whole new venue for adventure. Where is it and how can you register? We'll have all the answers and more on AYL in 7 days.
Of course, not everything was building up to the railroad. Some of them actually had to dig it a little bit.
Yeah, there's a big friggin' blasting hole right here.
Yeah, this is a cut. This is an area where you have to go below the natural grade to keep the grade of the locomotives nice and flat. So they just kind of dug a path right through the mountain here.
Yeah.
And of course, we're not going to go in there because there's a mama eagle, and I hear that they get like really persnickety.
They'll pick you up and fly you away.
Like giant tsetse flies, yes. Anyway, this has been a lot of fun today, and we hope you've had a blast with the show.
It's amazing. You got to get out here with your family, your friends, your 4x4s, and just enjoy the scenery and the history.
That's true. Actually, the road's graded well enough. You could probably make it in a car if you took it nice and easy, but man, soaking up the scenery is well worth it.
Yeah, you want to take your time.
That's true. Remember, as we tell you every week, there's adventure around every single bend.
You just got to get out there and create your own adventure.
At your leisure. We're going that way because the eagle is that way. All right. Anyway. Ree's got to go to the bathroom, so you go to the travel adventure with Steve.
You know what, though? You know,